pretty much the outline how it's gonna go. I brought the wrong book though. Damn. I hate when I do that shit.
NightOwlHipHop.com.
Yeah. Holy smokes, I'm no joke out the bullpen. Bringing nothing but heat, leave you hanging like clothespins. He's a beast when he goes in, ice cold frozen. The first round draft pick, number one chosen. Drop bombs, explosion, self-promotion. And I keep shit moving like a flanker in motion.
Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to a special episode of After the Buzzers. I got my guys. Man, the crew is back in town. I don't know who signed that song, but they're back. And this is going to be a hot 5A show. So we got we got the Hall of Famer in the house, Marvin Owens. What's happening, Marv?
What's going on? What's going on? I'm so happy to see Coach here so I can get somebody on here with me to talk some sense in you because I know you about to be talking crazy.
And we got the coach. And Coach, I had to get you on because the last time I struggled through and Marv was tripping, and I know you'll bring some civility to the arguments today. What's up, Coach?
How you doing, man? It's good to be back with you guys, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. This is going to be a great show. We got some hot topics. Of course, everybody's talking about Shedeur Sanders versus Deshaun Watson. Why did the Browns choose Deshaun over Shedeur? I know what Marv's going to say already, but I'm going to let him speak his mind. Coach, I need you to chime in on that. That's the hot topic. All of these guys, we got several guys that filed a petition. They are pros that want to go back to college. A lot of your SEC, your people came out with some policies today, Marv. We want to jump into that, find out what's going on, both in football and basketball. I want to talk about that R.J. Louise Jr., who is in basketball that's going back to LSU. I want to talk about really the 5 for 5 rules, Coach, and I want to get your opinion on that as well as Marv's about 5 for 5. Is that good for college sports? Is it something that you think it's going to go by the wayside? Does it affect other sports adversely than they do football and basketball? I want to talk about that. And then I'm going to ask the guys, if they were the commissioner of college football, what couple of things that they would do to change the trajectory of what's going on right now. As always, guys, please like, subscribe. We need you all in the chat so that we can get it on. So, hey, we're going to jump right into this thing, man. And really, let's go with our first topic today. Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns. I mean, come on. Todd Monken announced yesterday that they were going with Deshaun Watson as the starting quarterback. Shedeur Sanders, we saw both of the preseason games. Guys, I want to get your thoughts on one, okay, he named Watson, but I really want to find out why you think he named Watson the starting quarterback and what is it all about? Do you think Shedeur will play this year? I want to jump into all that and let's see. So, Marv, I want to get it out the way real quick so that you can go and do your thing. Mark, what are your thoughts? Monken named, you're familiar with Todd Monken. He's an SEC guy. He named Deshaun Watson the starting quarterback. What are your thoughts about it? What do you think this leads Shedeur Sanders? Let us know what you're feeling about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go real quick and get this out the way because I want the expert to speak on this, the guy that's got many years in football, to see what he thinks. And then I need to really hear from you because I know you sad today, and I know this is hard for you to deal with. Okay, but I've been telling you this from the beginning how this was gonna play out, right? But you know what? Then I started thinking about this a little differently. Okay, I'm saying to myself, like, you got a guy who hasn't played meaningful snaps since 22 off of 2 Achilles, right? And I see you shaking your head like, no big deal. You got off of 2 Achilles injuries, probably a social pariah at this point, we can say, a fan base that doesn't believe in him as a quarterback, still named the starter. So what that tells me is that Cleveland, because I remember somebody telling me that Oh, it don't matter about Deshaun Watson because, you know, he's going to be off the books anyway. His contract is off the books. We're not worried about that. They're going to go with Shedeur because they're going into the next realm of Cleveland Browns football. So what this tells me is that you can't even beat out a guy that comes off of 2 Achilles tears, that haven't played meaningful football in 4 years, that is a social pariah, that Cleveland hates, that you could not beat out as a starting quarterback. So what that tells me is that Cleveland doesn't believe that they have their franchise quarterback on the roster. That's what that tells me. So I need you to convince me otherwise, Lee, before we let, Mr. Keaton go. I need you to convince me otherwise that that's not what this is.
Okay, and thank you for that. I don't know what that was, but anyway, Mark, couple things right now. Shedeur, I think he performed well in the second preseason game. I think he performed well enough to really be in consideration for the starting job. I just look at it as this. It's far easier for the Cleveland Browns, because they said they were 50-50, very close, to go from Deshaun Watson to Shedeur Sanders. That's an easy transition. They're on the road for the first two games. They play Jacksonville, they play Tampa Bay. And so we're going to see, and we're going to have a sample set of what Deshaun is going to look like. I think Monken, being an old school coach, he's going to go with the guy that he feels is going to, I'll be interested to get your opinion about this, Coach Keating. He's going to perform the operation well. He's going to get them set up right as far as positioning. He's going to call the right play. He's going to do all the things mechanically and operationally right. Now, when it comes down to accuracy and throwing the ball down the field, I didn't see that from Deshaun in the 2 preseason games, and I don't know what's happening in practice because I'm not there. But it's much easier to go from Deshaun to Shedeur. Marv, I firmly believe that Shedeur will be the starting quarterback in week 3 as a transition back to Cleveland. Now, why Monken chose to do that is beyond me. I know there were reports today that reported that Todd Monken really didn't want to start Deshaun, that it came from a higher power. I don't know that to be true either.
Stop that, man. We talked about this last year. Y'all said the same stuff. True. You said the same stuff last year about the coach that they had in there that's somewhere else now, that they were doing this to Shedeur. Stop it. It's the same argument that you had last year when Shedeur didn't start. And now you guys move the goalpost about now you just want somebody to be able to command the huddle and to be able to run an offense and to be able Shedeur been playing quarterback for half his damn life. And now what we talking about is the fact that he needs to command the huddle. He can't command the huddle well enough. Man, come on. You move the goalposts every week when it comes to Shedeur. Just face the facts. He ain't a franchise quarterback, and he couldn't beat out a guy on 2 Achilles tears and ain't played meaningful football in 4 years. Stop it.
Last thing I'll say before we get Coach Keaton in here to talk some sense into Marv, I hope. But look. In all intents and purposes, Marv, Shedeur has to start completely over this year with Todd Monken. Last year was a wash with the way that the coach treated him last year. That was a wash.
He was the worst ranked quarterback in the NFL last year.
He had the 32nd worst
offensive
line and the 28th.
We always got an excuse when it comes to Shedeur. It's always somebody else. It's never Shedeur.
There's no difference in the way that the Raiders are bringing along Mendoza, the way all of these rookie quarterbacks, because I consider Shedeur now a rookie coming off of last year, the way they're bringing these players along. Coach, talk to us about.
Shedeur was a 5th round pick. He wasn't the number 1 overall pick.
It doesn't matter. Talk to us about, Coach, what are your feelings as far as Deshaun Watson getting the start, and where do you see Shedeur Sanders at as far as his possible development in Cleveland?
Well, Watson's preseason numbers weren't spectacular now. They were 16 of 27 for 162 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 interception. Sanders was 15 of 22, 153 yards, 1 TD, and 2 interceptions. But here's the key. I wouldn't make this about Deshaun versus Shedeur. It's not that. It's, are you choosing the best quarterback? today that who would give you the best chance as the franchise to be able to win. From a coach's standpoint, now I'm speaking from a coach's standpoint, I understand Monken's decision. You don't get the coach based off social media polls.
Yeah.
If the staff believes Watson give them the best chance to beat Jacksonville in week 1, that's what you got to go with. But the other side of that is that Cleveland already know what Watson is. If the season starts going sideways, the pressure sees what Sanders, what Sanders can become. That's what it's gonna happen. And I think that over the what's his name is 30 years old.
Watson.
Deshaun, I think he's 30.
Yeah.
And they got a lot of money tied up into him from a coach's standpoint. They got a lot of money tied up into him. So obviously, when he came out for the press conference and he said what he said, and he got booed, all the other stuff that happened to him, I think that they felt a little bit more than I don't think either one of them's done anything spectacular to say that they're the man. But I do feel like they need to make a decision of whether they're gonna move on. And if Shedeur, if he's gonna be the guy, I still think he got the ability to escape the pocket. He extend plays. I think he can throw the ball. He got the best deep ball that you want to see. I just think that I got to see where he goes from this. And because, I think that because Cleveland is the backup quarterback, every Sunday he gonna get better. Because I don't think Deshaun Watson is the answer too.
Let me ask something real quick, and I'm gonna be real serious when I say this. I know we joke around a lot about this, but Lee, your argument has always been to me about Deshaun Watson is the fact that Cleveland is done paying him that money, right? Like so this battle came down to who really was the best quarterback to move this franchise forward right now, right? And at the end of the day, Cleveland picked a quarterback that hasn't played meaningful snaps, that has looked pretty mediocre. I mean, he's a shell of himself. He'll never be what we used to see from Deshaun Watson. We both know that. And what we heard through all camp from Todd Monken about Shedeur Sanders was that he needed to get better processing. He needed to get better at the line of scrimmage. He needed to get better doing a lot of things that you need to do pre-snap. As Coach Keaton will tell you, probably one of the most important parts about this is being able to be good pre-snap.
Absolutely.
Todd Monken kept saying those were the only things that he would talk about Shedeur about was the fact that he was getting better at it. So that told me that they didn't feel comfortable with him in terms of running an offense, making the correct reads, being a leader on the field like they did with Deshaun. So to me, Cleveland, the team that needs really, really good PR at this point. Right? The team that really needs to have a good story said about them. If Shedeur was somewhat better than Deshaun, then he would be the starting quarterback, a 5th round pick. It's a great story. He comes to be the starting quarterback of Cleveland. They start to win football games. So if I'm putting my GM hat on and if I'm putting my coach's hat on, which I'm not qualified to do, we got somebody on here qualified to do it. I'm thinking that they have made the decision. We're going to crash and burn with Deshaun. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to position ourselves for next year's deep quarterback class that's coming out. We got 2 first-round picks. This season is a wash to us because this was Shedeur's chance to take over this franchise, and he didn't do it. So that's the way that I see it. I could be completely wrong, but if I'm Shedeur, I'm ready to move on as well. I'm ready to wash my hands of Cleveland. I'm ready to go somewhere else where I can get a legitimate shot and get better at my craft. That's just the way I see it right now.
I mean, Marvin, I think there's some hate there. I think that neither one of them did nothing that much different than the other one did. If I'm the coach right now, I know it ain't Pop Warner. I'm sorry. I'm going with Shedeur. I would have went with Shedeur. I saw him. I watched both preseason games, and I'm not really a Shedeur fan, but I watched both games on purpose just so I could be well educated on what he has done. He is probably the best. Like, I'm going to go back to Lee's point. Last year, their offensive line sucked. I'm talking about it absolutely sucked. And I don't think he make bad pre-snaps read. I think he do an excellent job at it. I think he commanded it just as good as Deshaun. If you go back and watch practice, which I was watching every day because I watch Well Off Media, and I'm watching him look, man, the kid made throws everywhere. Where do they draw the line and say that I'm not really giving the kid a chance? This sounds because both of you know
Because both of you know this is business. And Coach Keaton, you know this better than anybody. And you know this better than if Shedeur was better. This is a business. This is a business. This ain't favoritism. This is none of that stuff. And you know if Shedeur was better, he would be starting. So let me put this out.
I don't want to put an HBCU quarterback who was real good.
Well, now
I'm tendering into something that nobody else is really want to talk about.
Now your bloodline starting to come out a little bit. Now you start, but what I also want to say is to both of you, and then I'll let you go, Lee, because I know you need to.
This is some. They are racist. They are not letting that kid play. And they've hurted him.
Well, you said that they said the same thing about the coach. They said the same thing about the coach last year, and we got the same result this year. Okay. All right, so that's all I'm going to say about that. The second part of this,
it came from somewhere higher than that, and Monkey can sit there and look. But a job is a job, and it's the NFL, and it's a business.
That's exactly
so
right.
That's
exactly right.
So here's the okay. If that is the point, if that is the point, here's the second point of that. If that is the point, so if Shedeur comes in game 3 and Cleveland goes, they win 6 or 7 games this year, right? We already know that Cleveland doesn't feel like Shedeur is the answer. Okay, that's pretty relevant, right? It's evident at this point. Cleveland comes in and wins 6 or 7 games. Hold on. We know that he's not the franchise quarterback. Cleveland is already making that known. They're making that known. You don't have to like it, but that's the decision that they've come to. Then you've put yourself in a position as an organization not to put yourself in a position to be able to get those guys next year, because the draft is deep next year. So what do you want to do? You want Shedeur to come in and win you 6 or 7 games this year and then tank the franchise for another 4 or 5 years because you can't get the quarterback you really feel like you need to win? Because that's where they are at this point.
Marv,
he's no different than anybody else that played at the Cleveland Browns for years. So what difference is Shedeur?
We're talking about franchise quarterbacks, though, Coach. That's what we're talking about.
They ain't got a franchise quarterback yet. Name one.
Did you see Mendoza in his start? He's a young player, Marv, and you don't give up on a talent. That's why they have Kirk Cousins at the Raiders, and that's why Mendoza's going to sit, because he's not ready. Shedeur is not ready yet, but he has a jump on things. And let me say this: by week 3, I'm sure he's going to be in there. The other thing I wanted to say, Marv, it's a 17-game season. And the sample said, I can almost guarantee you that Shedeur plays more games with the Browns this year than Cleveland.
But what does that matter? What does that matter if he plays more games?
He's going to get his opportunity to show that he's a franchise quarterback, to show that he can be Cleveland's quarterback. The other thing where I think Cleveland missed the boat completely, and Coach Keaton, I would love for you to chime in on this. If you felt that there was some mechanics wrong with Shedeur, the operational piece with it, then you should have gave him all the reps in practice. You should have forgot about Deshaun Watson, because you know he's not the future. You know you're not going to, and you should have gave Shedeur.
And they know Shedeur isn't either. They know Shedeur isn't either.
We don't know
that.
We
do know that. We do know that, Lee.
What we do know is this: coming out of college, Shedeur Sanders, his senior year, had better numbers than Fernando Mendoza. We know that for a fact. Completion percentage, yardage, touchdowns, everything that we value a quarterback on.
No, we value winning. Coach Keaton, you value winning more than anything else. I know he does. And and Mendoza won games.
So you're going to put him over because he won the championship, Mark. I'm talking about quarterbacking 101, the things that you have to do to be a successful
But Lee, you're going back 3 years now when you have a sample size of him last year being the worst quarterback in the NFL. But then your argument to me wants to be the fact, well, everybody around him was trash.
Well,
okay, I get it. I get it. So then we go into this year where everybody isn't trash around him, according to you, and everybody that loves the Cleveland Browns, they've upgraded in every facet, and he still doesn't win the starting quarterback job. So now you telling me that he didn't win it because there's still some racism going on. There's still this. There's still that. There's all these things.
Marv, why hasn't the number 1 overall pick in the draft, why hasn't he started? He
doesn't have to.
He what?
He doesn't have to.
What do
Why does he need to start? That's why they got Kirk Cousins there.
He's the number one over. Kirk Cousins is a journeyman quarterback. We know he's going to throw 4 touchdowns one game and 4 interceptions next. There's no difference between what you get out of Kirk Cousins in Oakland and what you get out of Deshaun Watson.
Why are you seriously comparing a number 1 overall draft pick to a 5th rounder?
I'm comparing the production of a young player. I'm comparing them.
So the last time we saw production, the production that we saw from Shedeur Sanders was the worst quarterback in the NFL. Stop going back to college. College don't matter anymore. What matters is, Coach, go ahead, man.
I don't know what the Sanders family did to Marv. I believe
they didn't do anything. I don't know what they did to you.
Must have slighted him. Bucky or Shiloh or somebody did something to Marv.
Well, none of them pay my damn bills. I don't care about none of the Sanders family. But what I do care about is the fact that you keep moving the goalposts when it comes to Shedeur. So the better question is what they paying you.
Bring us home, Coach.
I'm not gonna get. I just feel like the whole Cleveland Brown thing was a joke from the get-go. He definitely probably should have found somewhere else to go or whatever because they played in his face for the longest. The kid, I read the numbers off before it started. It was 16 to 27, 162 yards for Watson, 15 to 22 for 153 yards for Shedeur. That ain't much of a separation. You get what I'm saying? That ain't much of a separation. So if I'm going to look at that separation as a coach, I got to play the guy who got the veteran on it. That's why he picked him. That's not necessarily saying Shedeur is trash because I thought Shedeur did. He's much improved with better velocity down the field. I think he's done some tremendous things, but we will see how this plays out. I don't think Watson is going to be there long. He's going to be there 1 or 2 games to satisfy whoever they satisfy, and Shedeur will get the call. And I guarantee we can revisit this in 3 weeks.
I'm glad you said that. And I think it's an important point. I never said that Shedeur was trash. I said he wasn't a starting quarterback and he wasn't a franchise quarterback in the NFL. And I'm glad you brought up the point about the fact that they were so even when he came out of camp. So it could have been a toss-up. So the toss-up goes to the veteran, correct? Goes to a veteran that I have to remind both of you that haven't played meaningful football since really 2019. That's coming off of 2 Achilles tears that looked awful, to be quite honest. And we both know that. So that tells me all that I need to know. My eyes don't lie to me, right? So if you can't beat out a one-leg Deshaun Watson, and the reason he's not beating him out, Coach, and you know this as well as I do, is that it just came out of your mouth. They don't feel like he can help them win right now because he's not doing the things that quarterbacks need to do beyond the accuracy and all those other things.
But as a coach, sometime, and I criticize the NFL for this all the time. A lot of times they bring these players in and they don't fit their systems to fit their strong points. They want the player to fit what they do. And that never works. And the coaches that know how to take a quarterback and put them in a system that fits them, I guarantee you they succeed. That's how they succeed in college. They don't succeed in the NFL because I want him to come be a drop back. I want him to be under the center. I want him to do this. And the man ain't never took a snap under no center. He got to relearn all that. And taking a snap on a 5-step drop to a 7-step drop from coming from under the center is a different read because you're reading as you're running back now. Now, in the shotgun, you got time to make good pre-snap reads. So I'm asking you, did they put him in a good chance to be successful? Or did they just put him and say, you're going to fit what we're going to do, and then we're going to call you trash because you don't fit what we do?
That's one of the reasons Deshaun Watson hasn't. The injuries is a big part of it, but that's right. One of the reasons Deshaun hasn't, because the system. What Deshaun did in Houston, none of it he did in Cleveland. And you paid that man $235
He hasn't played in Cleveland, Lee. He's been hurt.
I know what I'm saying. When he has played, Marv, the system didn't fit him. Why would you try to put him in a system and not tailor the system around what his skill set?
Coach, you know this. Who did he play for in Houston? He played for the offensive coordinator, the guy from Boston College, Bill, whatever his name was. I can't remember. Bill O'Brien. He played for Bill O'Brien.
And they made it.
Todd Monken is a Bill O'Brien tree. Todd Monken runs a lot of the same things that Bill O'Brien did. That's the reason why Now, you can look it up, Lee. I know you want to try to just make a point, but your point isn't real valid right now because Todd Monken is like Bill O'Brien in terms of the way he runs his offense.
Monken was the same
very
guy
similar.
that had Carson Beck looking like trash. I don't want to hear this stuff. He's the same guy that had Carson Beck looking like trash. Yeah, I don't want to hear that, Mark. Last thing I'll say, Miss Sandra Keaton, I love you, but you need to keep Dak out your mouth. See, you and I were good friends a long time ago, but then you start on the Dak stuff. We're headed towards the Super Bowl. We'll pick that up.
Gosh, here we go.
Hey, look, great conversation. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that real soon. I love where we're at. We're gonna get to that. But look, great conversation, y'all. Keep the comments coming. I want to jump quickly to our second topic. And this one, Marv, I really want – well, I want to start with Coach Keaton on this one, and then we'll get to you, Marv. Thoughts on Dae'Quan Wright leaving the Browns to go play at LSU? For those that don't know it, Dae'Quan Wright was signed as a free agent with the Browns. He was in Browns training camp. He actually suited up for a game. He didn't play, didn't get in the game. And all of a sudden, because of this ruling, which – for me anyway, Coach, I put a lot of this on the NCAA because they could have grandfathered those players into that 5-for-5 and they wouldn't be in this predicament. Instead, they chose not to grandfather them, and now these kids applied for an extra year, which was with the new rules well within their right. But anyway, Wright has now going back to LSU to play for Lane Kiffin. Coach, what are your thoughts about Mr. Wright leaving the Browns as a pro and going back to LSU?
Well, as a coach, I'd be conflicted. I'm just saying that's me. But as a player, I completely understand. If I can sit on the edge of an NFL contract, it's on a roster, and somebody keeps me and I can return and potentially make the amount of money that they can make with the NIL and the revenue sharing money, and improve my draft status. I'm talking about from a player. You asked me about the player. That I'm saying I'm going back to LSU. It is what it is. But where I got a problem for that is because now, imagine you're an 18-year-old tight end right now.
Yeah.
And you at LSU. And you thought you was competing against freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. But now you potentially could be competing against a guy who already signed an NFL contract now. Think about that now. Where's the competitive balance at now? There's no competitive balance now. You're right. We have one. I don't blame Dae'Quan. He's operating within the system that was created for him, in front of him. So the problem isn't with the player. My question is whether the system makes sense. So I'm not going to attack the kid. I'm going to attack the rule. That's where the problem lies at right now.
So, Marv, what are your thoughts, Marv?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a coach. The kid is at no fault. I think any one of us, if we were in that position and we had a chance to go back and make, $1.22 million for a season of college football, which is probably the going rate of probably what he was going to get, then I would certainly do it. But let's make sure we add some context to this, Lee. He ain't leave Cleveland. He was waived, right? Well, so let it wasn't like he left Cleveland to go to LSU because he wanted a bigger payday. He got waived by Cleveland.
Even if he made the practice squad,
the reason he got waived, though, Marv, because he had already the information had already came out about him thinking about going back to LSU. They wanted him to suit up for the last preseason game, and then he thought. But go ahead and finish your point, Mark.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of ifs that we got going on here. If they wanted, if we got a lot of that. Like Miss Keith used to say, if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk, right? So we got a lot of ifs going on, but also, I mean, he is operating within the construct of the rules, right? And the NCAA, which we know is a toothless organization. Coach, you probably know that better than anybody. I mean, they completely dropped the ball when it came to this, but we also knew, and anybody that follows this knew that I know he'll never see the field. Okay. And you saw that already with the SEC saying, hell no, we about to draw a rule where no professional who signed a professional contract is going to be able to come back to college and play. The Big Ten follows suit. The ACC is following suit. The Big 12 is following suit. So he's never going to see the field. And I know we're going to talk about the kid from St. John's with LSU. It's going to be the same with him. They're never going to see the court.
You don't think he's going to see the field this year, or you think that rule is for upcoming seasons? I think there's a case for him to see the field this year because they enacted the rule after he had committed. That's going to be a legal fight. I don't think the SEC wants to get involved. What are your thoughts?
Please, the SEC got nothing but resources and time. They'll definitely get involved with this. So will the Big Ten. So will everybody else. Because at the end of the day, does LSU want to spend the time fighting this for a player who, I mean, come on, LSU was stacked. I mean, would he help them? Sure, I'm sure he would to some extent. But do you want to utilize the resources to fight a battle that ultimately you're not going to win? Right. So that becomes the argument, and the penalties and the sanctions that the SEC put into the rulings that they wanted to do as well. Like, Coach, would it be worth it for you as a coaching staff for 1 year with this guy? You know, is he that valuable to you to have to deal with what's going to come from it? And to me, no, he's not. I wouldn't. There's no reason for it. I mean, you're right. You're right.
We talk about anybody else that might have been reasonable. Lane will push this, like, you know, he'll hook his train up to this because he thinks that he's going to be, you know, I'm with reasonably thinking. I'm probably going to back down off this. I'm like, look,
right.
We're not going to bring this type of. It's already a distraction right now. Currently, we're trying to get ready for a game. You know, we getting close to playing, and now you're the topic of the headline. It's even worse with R.J. Lewis. You know, when we get to this guy, you know, it's the same.
Yeah.
Same similar thing, but it's got two ways to go against that one now. And now that just shows what, as Marvin would call, the NCAA is toothless. Now we're looking at governance problems now. We're not talking about, we're saying, I'm just going to back down. And then you got on judges and senators and everybody else that can make a rule in their particular favor, and hell, they back on the field.
And so that's the key, Coach. That's the key.
Now you're going to force conferences to have to buckle down and say, this is what we can't do nothing about the players. Again, we can't do, but we can take care of our coaches, our ADs, and everybody else, and we can find them and do whatever or suspend them. Maybe they may come back and say, if you take that kid who done this, we're going to make you be suspended for 3 games.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mark.
Go ahead, Lee. No, go ahead, Lee. Go ahead, Lee.
I think the kid has some recourse, though, because he has already got a temporary restraining order that allows him to play. If the SEC doesn't allow him to play because he's gotten that TRO, then he has legal grounds to sue the SEC. That's why I think, Mark, it'll be future years they're not going to allow it. This kid, I think, will be able to play because you won't have this thing go to trial until after the season. Now, the only thing about it is if it's thrown out or reversed, LSU could have to forfeit all of their games until you guys' point.
TC, and that's
LSU want to get into that realm of thinking. That's the thing that you have to do.
I mean, if we
probably going to take it. That's what I'm saying.
If we was talking about Julio Jones, if we was talking about somebody like that coming back, I mean, it might be worth it because at the end of the day, and Coach, you know this, you get paid to win football games, and I'm not mad at LSU. I'm not mad at Lane Kiffin for pushing the envelope on the rules that were written shitty in the first place, right? Or that weren't written, right? I'm not blaming them for that. But the repercussions of what's going to come from it, is it going to be worth it for this one in particular player? That's the thing that you have to kind of weigh here. But with LSU, look, they went all in with Will Wade again. They got Lane Kiffin. Look, if it's anybody that's going to jump on the shrapnel or jump on the grenade, it's LSU. They showing you that they will, but I just don't know if it's worth it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a difficult one, but I'll say this: there are 116 kids that have filed suit to get an extra year across multiple sports, basketball, football, baseball, that have filed suit. So this is not an isolated situation. It has far-reaching ramifications. It's going to be interesting to see what when Sankey comes out and he states if this is specific to the right kid, because I think the right kid has plenty of recourse because they made.
It's not. I saw. It's not specific to him. It's not specific to him. And as you saw, the power in this, though, Lee, And coach, is the fact that the Big Ten immediately did the same. The ACC drew up the same. Like, they're in congruence, all of these conferences right now, about the fact that nobody that signed a professional contract is coming back and playing for. Now, if the SEC was out on a limb by itself, you know, I think you might have an argument here. But the fact that all of them have come together the way they have to draw up the same language for each conference, man, I got to stay away from that.
Yeah, they don't.
What you got to think?
Go ahead.
What you got to think about, if a college athlete can make millions through NIL and revenue sharing, think about this now, and still be considered a college athlete, what exactly makes signing a professional contract the line?
There is none. Right. You're a good point, coach. There is none.
There is no line for it. So when you're talking about this is not an easy answer as it sounds. It used to be college to professional equals college career was finished. Correct. But the NIL destroyed much of the old amateurism argument.
Yep.
It did.
There is no.
Now, there's a real question to become: is professional? It's professional,
right?
By getting paid, signing a contract, or actually competing professionally. That's
right.
What we're trying to fight right now.
See, that's the conversation. The conversation is that we're still thinking about this, because I'm a traditionalist when it comes to college sports. Like, we're still thinking about this in those terms. College sports is pro now. It is the lines are no longer blurred with this. We just trying to make them blurred, right? Because we want the old, well, at least I do, want the old model of what we remember college football and athletics to be. It is no longer that. And Coach made the greatest point. Like, these kids, some of these kids are making more than professional athletes make at this point. This is no longer amateurism as we know it. This is the minor leagues. I don't even want to say the minor leagues anymore, but yeah, coach said it best.
I'm a pro player. All my young people have opportunities, but college athletes still need an identity. They sign professional contracts, go through professional organizations, then come back to college. Somebody has to explain what a line is. Then you got to think about the bigger concern, the roster displacement. Every veteran that
see, there you go.
Potential means of fewer high school players or anybody else in there. The transfer portal already damaged that. So, you know, when you talk about, everybody talk about the players' freedom, coaches also have to think about 17-year-old kids and wonder why nobody's recruiting them anymore.
Yeah, it has erased a whole second wave of high school athletes going to college. When you talk about 2- and 3-star athletes, you can forget it. They're recruiting a 4- and 5-star and jumping into the portal. That's the way this thing works now. And so it's hard. It's hard for kids. Barry, Raul Havana, Barry's the Tecmo Bowl GM. Andrew, look, that was funny. Andrew Barry's done a fabulous job, though, as the GM of the Cleveland Browns. He's got talent. They've had back-to-back draft picks. I disagree with that. Hugh Jackson is sending Todd to speed. Anyway, I'll go ahead. But to your point, though, Coach, kids and how they're recruiting and how they are going into college and what level of college they go to now, that's severely affected. Marv, I want to turn our attention to basketball because I want to get your opinion on this RJ Luis Jr. situation. Big East Player of the Year, all right, came out. He hasn't signed a major NBA contract, but he signed a couple of minor league contracts, two-way contracts, and now he's going back to LSU. LSU don't care. LSU don't give a damn. They like, we gonna make this happen. Bottom line, in a discussion. But he's going back, Marv. What are your thoughts about this? Player of the year. Now, he hasn't really, he's been teetering with the NBA, but not necessarily an NBA player. What are your thoughts, Marv?
Yeah, he had that contract, though, with Boston that essentially made him a professional athlete or a professional basketball player. It'd have been different if I agree with you, Coach. I see you. It'd be different if he did the summer league and signed a summer league deal, which is not specifically an NBA deal. He could go ahead and go back and we wouldn't even be having this conversation. But again, he signed a professional contract and we're having the same argument about him. But again, it's the rules. The rules should be written better. I just don't like Will Wade. So for me, I just, I think
the Godfather.
I mean, the fact that he could do what he did and then come back to the school he did it to, man, I just don't even know. I don't know how you do that. But I mean, we're talking about the same situation here. But again, I mean, I'm with Coach. The lines are so blurred at this point. What is right and what is wrong when it comes to these kids and whether they are professional. I mean, they're professionals now in college with the way they're being paid. They just don't have a union. So I don't, I don't know what the proper argument is with this because the lines are just so blurred.
Yeah. Coach, what are your thoughts about it? I mean, he's the big East Player of the Year. Going back probably for a nice bag, too. I'm sure he's going back for a nice bag. LSU pays. I mean, if you can get to LSU, you're going to come out and you're going to have some money. So what are your thoughts about Big East Player of the Year going back to LSU for
it's
basketball?
No different than what I just explained. I just said it. It's college, professional, college career finished. That's the way I feel.
Yeah.
You can't, because, I mean, we got to draw a line somewhere, but this is not a kid problem. The kid, I position myself with the kid. If I had an opportunity to go back to get that bag, and I don't think Lee Jones feel no differently. I don't think Marv feel no differently. And I know Teddy Keaton, if I could go get the bag, I'm going. So I'm not talking about that. I'm not going to attack the kid. I'm attacking the system. The system has failed, and the kids are taking advantage of the loopholes in the system, and that's what you're supposed to do. Every law, every bylaw that's ever been wrote for the NCAA, that's why they hear the term waiver. There is a way, if you're smart enough, it's just like reading a law. Every time you go to court, they have to draw back for the law book. The case versus Brown versus their Board of Education that gives you this, and that's their reference. They all have those things in there, and that's how these kids can get these judges to go in and find these loopholes for these kids and get them their waiver. And there ain't nothing you can do about it because the NCAA don't write laws that got descriptions on it. Right. It's just a broad thing that say, he can't do A, B, C, D, and E. But there's a way. If his auntie died and his cousin had a heart attack and the shoe fell off and they live in the Louisiana area, he can go back to LSU.
See, and the problem is, Lee and Coach, like the NCAA now has become reactionary, right? They haven't had the vision to write these laws, predicting what's going to happen. Anybody who deals in this, Coach deals in it, like you could see this coming. All right. So you got to wonder about just how smart the people are at the NCAA. Like you could see all of this coming, but they're reacting to it all instead of already being prepared for. So this is what we see.
I really think it's not really that. It's the lawsuits.
Yeah.
They're trying to avoid. That's what they don't want to be a part of.
But they could have.
They lose everyone.
They could have easily grandfathered those kids in. That's the part that bothers me. They could have. These are 4-year players. All of these guys we're talking about are 4-year players. So they went from freshman to senior 4 years, and they do this 5 for 5. It would have squashed everything. We wouldn't even be having this discussion.
But I still think there's a great line, even though they still went professional. At
right.
some point
See,
in time,
that's
when
the
you
part.
go professional, it should be over for you because
it should be over.
Let's think about the 105 roster in football.
I agree with it.
Think about basketball. 105. Okay, if this guy, that tight end, goes back to LSU, somebody on that 105 finna lose a scholarship or have to be off that team for him to have a place, or they held out. And this is probably why he got waived. To your point, Lee, he got waived because they had already heard that he was going to possibly go back. So that put them in the system. So he signed 104 so he would have room for his 105.
Yeah. No, I do. I agree with both of you. When you go pro, you're a pro. You get to make that decision. You have all the information. You can call the NFL. They'll give you a grade. NBA as well. Even in the NBA, you can go to the scouting combine in the NBA and pull yourself out. So you have all of the necessary information. But the NCAA dropped the ball because of their arrogance. All they had to do was include that in. This new rule, 5 for 5. For those of you that don't know, you get 5 years to play 5 seasons. Really, no more red shirting. players, very few medical red shirts now, only for pregnancy and some few minor things, which could be loopholes as well, Coach. But Marv, what are your thoughts? Is 5 for 5 a good thing for college sports in general? And when I ask you these questions for both of you, we're talking football and basketball, but we're also talking all the other sports who are really on different timetables than football and basketball. Mark, what are your thoughts about 5 for 5 as a rule for college sports?
I mean, I like it. I'm just in that camp. I don't want to see a 26-year-old win the Heisman again, like Chris Winkie did back in the day, or, have a 28-year-old Aussie punter. I mean, there is a difference, right? There is a difference with grown men playing against 18 to 22-year-olds. There is just a difference. So I like the rule. I think that, look, if you get hurt, hey, that's part of it. So if you only get to play 3 years, then you only playing 3 years of college athletics. I mean, that's just the part of the business. That's the part of the game. So I'm okay with the rule. I actually think that this is one of the things that they've done right. So I don't really have any beef against the rule. I like it.
Coach, what are your thoughts about the rule? Specifically, let's stay with what Marv said. Look, injuries are part of football more than anything. Injuries are part of football. You have kids that get injured their first year. They do all of that rehab, Coach, and you know about it, all of that rehab to come back from a knee or an Achilles or whatever the case may be. They come out, they get hurt the next year again, right? These are real life scenarios. Now they only have 3 years and they've never really played. What are your thoughts about that, Coach Keaton?
I like the concept. I like it, but not the chaos surrounding it. Why? Because the old systems had became ridiculous. I'm speaking from a coach seat now. You had the COVID years, you had the medical red shirt, the regular red shirt, the JUCO eligibility, the transfer waivers, the guys who seem to play college football forever. Yeah. The NCAA did a good thing by writing that. But here's where the concern from. College football needs certainty. Head coach shouldn't have to ask a compliance officer or wait on a write down for a waiver for a kid, for a judge to move in to say, hey, he can play here. Well, we got to wait on the court case to see whether he's going to be able to play. You give a player, this is my thought on it. You give me 5 years, give the players 5 years, give everybody the same clock. You can build a program around the 5 years. A judge don't got to come in and tell me he went to JUCO and he needs 2 more years because he went to JUCO. But unless he signs professionally, and I still stand on that. If he sounds professionally, he's done for me. That's the only thing I really want them to say. He signs professionally, he done. He can't come back. I like the 5 for 5. It gives it clarity. I feel like everything now is very clear. So I can see when he started school on the 19th birthday, I can count back from there, and I know exactly where he should be. And I should say, if he tell me he's 25, I'm like, oh, homeboy, you might not be. I got to, it's easy to go back and count when he played. Now, I think that now I get your point, and that's something that's going to come up now because Marv going to get in his first year and tear his ACL. Then the second year, Deshaun going to have 2 Achilles tears. Now, he ain't playing yet. I'm just talking about what I'm talking about now. Now we talking about 2 years of eligibility.
That's what I'm talking about. That's difficult.
So that's gonna have to be addressed. See, and I don't think that people think this through enough. They gave him 5 to play 5, so there's gonna have to be some type of waiver in there for a guy who gets hurt, or maybe he gets an extra year.
Let me put it to you this way, though, Coach. Like this I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, just from a coaching perspective, right? And I get what you're saying that there's got to be some kind of provision for guys that get hurt. But let's put it like for you, if you a coach and your best D lineman tears ACL year 1 or year 2, or like the last job you was at, your quarterback got hurt, right? Yeah. So what, right? That's part of it. Your job is to win games, right? So they
gonna tell me to recruit better.
They gonna tell you to recruit better, and they gonna tell you to have better players there available as back. That's what they gonna say. So are we supposed to give players a little bit more carte blanche because they get hurt? We're not giving it to coaches. We don't give it to. Hey, look, people get hurt every day. I don't want to hear it. You get paid, and you get paid well to win football games. So go out there and win football games. Somebody get hurt, next man up. I don't want to hear it.
I want to throw this out there for
Well, I'm
both
glad
of
you ain't my AD.
Oh man, it's over. Shit, I mean, you could. I mean, this guy, man. He hurt the program, coach. He hurt the program.
I don't know whether it's the kid that got hurt or the AD killing me. I don't know which way.
What about, because baseball players and hockey players who are under the same guidelines, 5 for 5. Hockey, they go to the minor leagues before they even come back to college. So they may play 3 years, 4 years in junior hockey, and then they come back to college. They want to have a 1 year. Baseball, you go to the amateurs, and then you might want to come back. It's far-reaching more than, and we always focus, and rightfully so sometimes, on basketball and football. But when you look at these other sports as well, it adversely affects them. And I think even with that, you're going to have some lawsuits because it's not an even playing field. And so that's why when we get to our what will we do as a commissioner, I want to talk about that. But what do you guys think about the other sports who are not on the same level as football and basketball?
Well, my AD, Mr. Marvin Orange, told me I need to be worried about what's going on.
Just your sport. He said, just worry about that. Don't worry about that.
I shouldn't be worried about what baseball and hockey got going. First of all, it's too hot in Atlanta to be playing hockey anyway. So what do you care about hockey? I don't know. I agree with you. That's what I was saying. It's gonna be some people who's gonna have conversations. And it's going to have to be when we go meet at the super region and we have regional meetings and we have national meetings, and it's going to be talked about, because I'm sure the baseball coach, but what a focal point and where these rules started at. They started with football and basketball.
Thank you, Coach.
They're the only two places that make money.
Thank
so everybody
you.
else don't care about those non-competitive sports.
No, it ain't even worth having that conversation because they don't matter.
But it don't
they
matter
do, but they don't.
To the general public, but it matters to the courts. And
sure.
And what is made for them is going to bleed over into football and basketball. So that's where the relevancy comes in. It could affect them. God, it's been a great show. Guys, thank you for all the comments. This has been great. Marv, I'm going to give you the commissioner hat of college football and all sports. Hell, you're already killing the program at the AD, but we're going to give you the commissioner hat right now so that you can change the trajectory of college sports. Everybody's saying it's the wild, wild west. There's no control. First of all, Marv, tell us what you want to control, and then what would you do if you were the commissioner of college football?
Well, I mean, we all know, even if we don't want to say it, all these rules are predicated on football. I mean, that's the revenue driver. That is what everybody watches. So all of these rules that have come into play and everything that we see in NIL, this is all because of football. So for me, I mean, I would. So let's go back to the 5-5 rule, right? I think 5 years of play, the 5-5 rule is great, but you only get that 5th year for me if you graduate in 4, right? We got to do something to look. The majority of us, and Coach know this, the majority of us never going to see a professional football field. The majority of us is never going to see a professional contract, right? We need to get something out of it. A lot of the kids not making $1.2 million on the NIL deal. Hell, they barely can buy Domino's pizza. So let's just be real. So for me, I would make that a rule. If you want that 5th year, you got to graduate in 4. That's one of the things. College football playoffs, I would stop all this, had a selection show and then we're waiting weeks. I want the selection show, and then a week later we play in that first round of playoff games. That's what I want.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
I want to get rid of the committee. I don't know what you come with for it, but it's too subjective for me. You got a committee made up of people with a lot of grudges, a lot of conferences. Like the committee to me is just too damn subjective, and I don't care who gets in. I just want it to be a level playing field with all the subjectivity taken out of this argument, because there's just too much with it. That's another thing.
You want automatic qualifiers, Marv? Is that what you want?
I do. I want automatic qualifiers.
Hell, you want all the SEC teams in.
It ain't got nothing to do with SEC, but I'm tired of the committee. I think the community is trash. I would like to reestablish regional rivalries. I think that's what makes college football great. I think that's what makes Saturdays great. And also go back to making games matter, right? Every week in college football, what made it great was that all the games mattered. And the more we get away from that, the more you take away from what made college football so great and the revenue that it generated and why we're at the point we're at this point, right? So I would want to make regional rivalries something that kind of goes again. And then, of course, we got to do something about the transfer portal. Do we put a cap on transfers? Like what is the transfer portal to me is the biggest. I don't know how you solve it, but that's the biggest thing to me that has to be solved. Not only just for the sport, but for young men, women, whoever it is. Like it's got to be solved for them because you got kids who will. And coach, I know you know this. You got guys, man, sitting in transfer portal, never end up going back to school again, right? Like this, just lose out on the ability to have an education. So
make the wrong move and it happens.
And it happens, right? So those are some of the things that I would do if I have my AD hat on, and if I'm in the committee, or if I'm the czar. I would love to be the czar of college football or college athletics. But those are some of the things that I would do.
You got some good points, Mark. Except for that one about 4 and 5. Damn, you already done tricked the people. I mean, God damn.
Hey man, I only got to play 4 years. I mean, shit. Everybody, look.
Well, see,
I want my fifth.
You said you want to solve the committee, and because they got biased opinion, and listen to you right there.
Yeah,
You just came with your own bias.
Yeah.
So,
Coach,
can you do it?
What would you do, Coach?
I agree with Marvin. I got 5 things that I think that I would really focus on, but I'm different. I will have one national eligibility standard, one national. And that goes for the SEC, Big Ten, SIAC, SWAC, MEAC, all the other players. College football cannot have eligibility determined by the courthouse who files a lawsuit. It just can't happen that way. It got to be due. The second thing I would do is I want to protect high school recruiting. I would create incentives and things like that to preserve the opportunity for the high school player. The portal has changed recruit tremendously. We all know that. I want somebody to why recruit 20 high school kids when I can recruit 20 college experienced players? That's just for the sport right now.
How do you do it? What would you do though, Coach? Because that's a hard predicament. Well, without changing the transfer portal, how can we protect high school athletes?
Well, I think if you don't stop developing high school football players, you're gonna run out of college football players.
Yeah.
You got the developmental part got to happen somewhere. And I think that if we keep worried about transfer, you're gonna see teams get really, really bad because it's gonna be big bank take little bank because we have no creative money. So when you see LSU with a $40 million roster and the rest of the programs can't get to a $40 million roster because it ain't shared, you got to go back. It's like the old NFL, XFL, all that stuff there. You got to go back to where there's a line. You remember when your Cowboys used to run everything because they had the largest bank account that everybody else didn't have. But now when it kind of got spreaded where they had salary caps, now it kind of made football a little bit more equal. And I think that's got to happen in football and basketball. Basketball been paying money. They've been paying money when it was in shoes. So it just was a little different. They was making money because it was 5 of them. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. It's 5 to 6 of them. But in football, you had to pay a whole lot of people. So it wasn't a lot of money being shared around, but it was somebody was getting some. But okay, create transfer windows. I think
they'll become the Clemson Tigers of the world, right? That's what they
exactly because that is a good example. They become you become South Carolina. Yeah, the University of South Carolina because their standards to get in school is already high. Then they don't got enough money. They ain't got no bag people, so now they can't keep up with the SEC. Now you be talking about do they need to transfer down and play an group of 6 or something? They don't need to be playing in the SEC. Okay, so you want to create transfer windows. I think that the portal windows they got to have deadlines. They got to be clear about what people know because these kids are getting in these portals without good knowledge. Nobody to help them. Lee just jumping in the portal because he think he finna go over to LSU next week, and it ain't happening. They ain't going to come for you. Now nobody else pick him up. Like he just said, they never come back. Establish standards for this money. I'm talking about I will spend days of trying to be transparent contracts, standardized disclosure, real enforcement, clear agent regulation, financial education, and the consequences for tampering. Right now, they're tampering with everybody's kid. If I want Lee Jones, and Lee Jones, you remember when you signed a deal at one time in your life, you signed that deal, but guess what? If Lane Kiffin wants you, hey, they give you $300. We're gonna give you $340. I ain't nothing I'm gonna be able to tell to Marvin to keep Marvin over there with me unless I got 50. You get what I'm saying? That's the only thing gonna keep him there. And define what college athletes really what it means. What does college athletics mean now? Because you can play professional, you can sign an NFL contract, you can sign an NBA contract, you can get waived, you can return to college at whatever age you want to. We need a clear definition about what it is. And college football doesn't have a popularity problem. People love the game. Yeah. It has a governance problem.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
Too many people making different rules for the same game. We got to come up with that. That's what it is to me.
No, and Lee, before you go, I'm gonna let you do this, but in listening to Coach talk, one other thing that I just thought about when it comes to college football, what college football has turned into? Probably the largest tax-funded minor leagues for the richest professional sports league in the world. That's what college football has become. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm sitting here listening to you guys talk. That's what it's become, and that's what it sounds like to me. But I digress. I just wanted to say that because Coach made some good points.
To your point, Marv, the NFL doesn't mind. To your point, Marv, they don't mind NIL. They don't mind because their model states that I'm only going to give you certain money on that first 5 years of your contract anyway. You're not breaking my bank, so let the colleges, to your point, Mark, let them give them all the money because I don't care. Kids can stay and continue to develop. So when they come to us, so that's a great point because the NFL don't mind. That's one thing about the NFL. It's a cash money making machine. It don't matter what they do, they're going to make money. My two things, and I'll be quick because I know it's been a great show, guys. Excellent show. Thank everybody for tuning in and certainly Marv, you and Coach Keaton. One, for me, it has to be a salary cap in college football. It has to be a salary cap. I'm for free enterprise. I'm a free enterprise guy. But if you get a salary cap, then teams across the board, if they're playing on very similar standards, then you'll see who can recruit and you'll see who is actually a very good coach instead of buying all these 5 stars and all the great players. Along with that, there has to be collective bargaining with the college players. If they don't, first of all, you won't get a salary cap if there's not collective bargaining. It has to be. And these college administrators don't want to do that. And Teddy, you probably have more insight on that than I do on why they don't want to do it, but they don't want to do it. That's the kiss of death. This whole NIL and all of this stuff would be over if they just sit down, went to the table, and negotiated a salary cap and collective bargaining with those players. They don't want to do it. I don't know why. Maybe you can share some insight on what you think.
I don't have no insight on that, but we got to quit using the proper. We got to use the proper terms. It ain't NIL. Ain't nobody making no money on NIL. It's a collective bargaining. It's not NIL. Ain't nobody making no money but Shador, who made some money off his name.
It's pay for play. That's what it is.
Exactly what it is. It is now. I went from putting the money in his shoe to we talking about it up front in the room now. It went from the Adidas bag going across the floor to now I just come up to his house and say, pick out your car, what you want, and everything else, and I'm giving it to you. That's just what it's about. It's I say, it's.
What shoe did you get your money in? Was it your Nikes or was it?
Look. We used to be happy when we got that $25 handshake at the end of the game. You know what I mean? We was buying the whole dorm pizzas at the end of the day. So now you can't get in the living room without $200,000 in a duffel bag. So I came in wrong at the wrong time. So it's interesting, man. I would have been rich.
Any player that played back when he played, they have no sympathy. Matter of fact, they all bitter.
We bitter. We all bitter.
That's why his views are like they are, Coach. The guy's bitter because he was born late. I don't know.
It ain't our fault. We just came to the party late. He's
bitter because he was born late. I mean, I don't know what's going on. But look, guys, this has been a great show. Marv, any closing comments before we get out of here? Anything we talked about or anything you want to interject?
No, but NBA, we're going to be talking about it soon. Boy, if Miami pull off Kyrie, look out.
Oh, yeah, that would be something right there.
I just had to bring that one up real quick.
I would like to see Kyrie go play with Luka in Los Angeles, but that's a different story. Coach, any closing comments for you before we get out of here?
No, it's always great. Thank y'all for having me. I'm glad to, jump on for a little while, be able to share some thoughts with y'all. I appreciate it. I'm a guest after the buzzer, and I appreciate you guys letting me be a part of it. And I know you two basketball guys, and every now and then you want to throw a little football into it. But it's very interesting to know that y'all been keeping up with your football. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Always good to have you, Coach.
And Coach, look, week 0 is this week. Now I'm gonna need you back in a couple of weeks, because I ain't gonna be able to handle this guy, because it's gonna be pitiful, because we know where it's going. So you're gonna have to come back.
College football getting ready to start. We got a lot of conversations to have.
Absolutely.
Yes, I'm on a new show, Sipping on Sundays. It's called, and I'm the co-host of that. So I got to watch a lot of football and have a lot of breakdowns, because that's what we talk about. And they just felt, since I was not coaching this year, they felt like they had to have me on the show, and we're doing really well. So I'll be able to add much value, because now I'm spending a lot of time watching the preseason. That's why I told y'all I've been watching the Shador situation. I've been paying attention to a lot that's going on, and I didn't know about the Kyrie situation. So now I
didn't either, Marv. I didn't know about Kyrie either.
You heard it here first. I got a little bit of insider still when it comes to basketball. So if it pans out, look out for that one. It might be in the pipes.
What, if that happens, Marv, before we get out of here, boy, that NBA season is going to be lit if that happens. If that happens, the NBA season will be lit. Last thing I'll say to you, Coach, you've been watching all of this preseason and all of this tape, and you don't think that the Cowboys are Super Bowl contenders? I don't want to question what you're doing when you're watching all this tape, but what I've watched so far, boy, them boys, them boys. That's all I'm gonna say.
I mean, I'm not gonna say that we've been hearing that since the 90s. So I'm not. I know, but what I'm saying, they are playing good football right now, but it's the preseason. I don't know. The Browns look good right now in certain areas.
When it comes to Dallas, he want to talk about the present, but when it comes to Shador, he want to talk about what he did in college 3 years ago. Make up your mind, Lee. Which one you want to do?
It's been a great show.
I'm not getting into that mess with you and Lee with this Shador thing. I'm not doing it anymore, because at the end of the day, I still feel like the kid did not. I don't know if he's gotten I like his emotional intelligence that he
very good. Yeah.
He has handled this situation better than most grown people would have handled it. And he's having to carry himself and go in there every day and still show up and be able to perform like he is. So you think about Marvin, he was already distorted when you get drafted in the 5th round. Yeah. And then you still got to come in and fight through the other levels or whatever that may look like was what's going on in the building. So think about all of that kid's going through and still be able to be, somewhat mindful. Y'all remember when Eli Manning got drafted and he told the people he was not going to that? Y'all remember that now. Yep. If Shador would have said that, they probably would have told him, "Don't worry about it, you ain't got to go nowhere."
You'll never play down in the NFL.
Well, I mean, Eli was a number one pick, though. I mean,
all right, I'm about to go. I said I'm about to go. I am not going to hear this tonight.
Hey, but real quick before we go, because I know we got to go. The beauty of this whole conversation is that we're going to get to watch it all play out in real time. And then we'll be able to come back and revisit this conversation. And I want both of you to tell me that I was right. Thank you.
Okay. Right. I don't have a problem with telling you when you're right. But I just want you to make sure you on the episode when it do happen. Because me and Lee gonna be here. I'm talking about I'm going to take whatever day I got. Yeah. I'm free today.
Look, go. I'm going to Columbia, damn it, to find him. Don't even worry about it. I'm going to Columbia to find him. Don't even worry about it. I'm going to find him. Don't worry about that. Look, guys, we got to go.
We're going to have a live station. We're going to have a live event.
This has been a great show. Look, it's been great. Thank you, all of you guys, for tuning in. For Marvin Orange and Coach Teddy Keaton, I'm Lee Jones. Y'all have a good evening.